the Fade 5 podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons. Brad the Big Noise Evans here, joined by the good sir Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed the Fade 5 podcast presented by Suavecito Tequila. And I needed another entire bottle of the Love Juice last night. Now, granted, truth be told, I was dead asleep, but I woke up this morning. I usually bet on the Hawaii game. They were taking on UCSB in a colossal clash inside the Big West last night, Lundy. And I woke up and I saw they lost by a couple of points. And then I saw the highlights and they lost on a last-second shot, which is a heaping pile of BS off the glass that scored UC Santa Barbara the victory and me the loss on the Rainbow Warriors. But also, I had a bet on the under. If you listen to the podcast yesterday, 127.5. It finished at $1.29. So it was a double loser as a result. So that sucked. And I know you're watching the Arizona game, and there was a horrible bad beat in the last seconds of that contest as well.
It was all bad. Brett, why are you in a stocking cap right now?
It's cold, man.
Yeah, but
it's cold.
Okay, for those of you that are listening to the podcast instead of watching the video, and we know that several thousand of you that listen every day, and first of all, thank you to all you guys that listen to the pod. Whether you listen to us or watch us, we appreciate it. Brad is in a stocking cap right now, but also a T-shirt. So it can't
20%. 20% of the heat escapes your top of your head, so I'm trying to keep that trapped in.
You are full of crap, dude. You are so full of it right now. Oh, it's so cold. It's so cold. Meanwhile, he's in like a schmedium shirt right now, as our friend, former NFL linebacker Chad Brown would call it. Chad always refers to it as a schmedium when it fits a little tight, but you're kind of doing it on purpose. You got the gun show going. You're so full of crap, dude.
Well, it's a good thing the filming is from the chest up, because a schmedium does not do a whole lot of justice to the chest down. I can say that, especially for a man in my mid-40s whose metabolism rate is evaporating every single day that I wake up on this wonderful Mother Earth. But forget that here on the Fade 5 podcast. Let's get after with a Friday night pick to click, and we're going to get to NFL Championship Weekend player props here in a moment. But looking at the slate of games, or the cross the ice, or the hardwood at Lundy, NBA, could be college. I know it's a light slate in the world of college basketball, and I'll have a selection here in a moment. And more in bonus time. What is exciting you and maybe is going to cash a ticket for those that tell you?
Well, so in full disclosure, it's a little chilly around Nate Lundy's picks spreadsheet lately.
You need a Nick cap.
A little chilly. I kind of need to put your stocking cap on my picks, because it's a little chilly. So last night was not all that great, but I also, to be honest with you, did not have a ton of bets in play because I am on a little bit of a cold streak. So y'all can decide whether you actually want to pay any attention to what I'm about to tell you or not. But Brad, back in 1997, I remember it well. Back in 1997, Puff Daddy told us it was all about the Benjamins. For me tonight, it's all about the Billikens. Give me St. Louis, and I will lay the 2 points on the road against Davidson, in part because, the Billikens are on a hot streak right now. They have won 5 in a row. They are 6-1 in conference play. Davidson flipping the other direction. They are 3-5 in conference play. And right now, the fighting Steph Currys cannot hit a damn shot from outside to save their lives. This team does everything in the 2-point range. They are allergic to the arc. I think that's going to be their downfall tonight. So the Billikens are laying 2 on the road. They're chasing VCU in the standings of the A-10. I think this is a big-time win that St. Louis needs tonight. So give me St. Louis -2 on the road. I say they improve to 7-1 in conference play. I say they win this one by a nickel, 5 points.
Yeah, just so give everybody some specifics out there. Davidson shooting a lousy 26.3% in Atlantic 10 games this year. That's unbelievable. And a team really not defending either. Number 9 in conference in effective field goal percentage. D, I like that call there. Give me the mighty Penguins of Youngstown State tonight against the Oakland Grizz, Greg Campy's club, who is 7-3 right now in Horizon League play, but Youngstown State has been a covering machine this season. They're 13-6 ATS, so I will lay the chalk here -9 at home. You look at Oakland, number 310 on the season in adjusted defensive efficiency. They're 270 plus, as a matter of fact, in 8 different defensive categories. Malik Green and Adrian Nelson should have their way inside because that's an area weakness for this Oakland team, is defending around the cup. And meanwhile, you look at Youngstown State, one of the better offensive teams, not only in the Horizon, but in the nation. They're shooting 39.2% from distance. That's number 6 in the country. They're number 9 in the nation in effective field goal percentage offense. They don't play like a D. That's a downside, but they're at home. And I think they're going to completely boat race and outscore Oakland and secure what should be a sweat-free cover. I know the line has come down from 10.5 at open to -9, but it won't matter. Youngstown takes this by 14 plus in my estimation. With those picks on the board, let's get after it now with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
Numero 5 on the countdown today. Let's live in the land down under in this championship Sunday on Devontae Smith. Yeah, the Slim Reaper is not going to lull the competition to sleep this week on 66.5 receiving yards. Is at under -114. Pulled this line from FanDuel Sportsbook. I think this is really set up to be an A.J. Brown kind of game. Working outside the numbers, and obviously Smith is a chunk gainer extraordinaire, a guy that's number 7, on the entire season in yards after the catch. He's gone for $110 plus in 4 of his last 6 games. But you look at San Francisco in their last 6 contests defensively. I know the secondary can be a weakness at times, but statistically, they've been outstanding. 6.87 pass yards per attempt allowed over that 6-game stretch. And you look at his primary adversary, projected to be Charvarius Ward. He's given up just 12.1 yards per catch and a 60.2% catch rate on the season. Michael Gallup did nothing, the number 2 for the Dallas Cowboys last week. And Tyler Lockett in the wild card round was largely absent as well. So, again, I think A.J. Brown is going to inflict the most damage vertically for those Eagles, and he will fly, Eagles fly. But a guy who may resemble a member of Youngstown State, a Penguin, and will not take off vertically is one Devontae Smith. So give me the under 66.5 yards. I think he finishes somewhere in the 50s. So Lundy, fade or follow, Devontae Smith, under 66.5 receiving yards, -114 at FanDuel.
I got him pegged for somewhere between 55 and 59. I think that's where he finishes. So I am comfortable with you on the under with this one. I also believe this will be an A.J. Brown type of game. I'll talk about that in bonus time. But yes, I like this as a starting point for Championship Sunday. It's been tough to play around with some of these props. These odds makers, you now got the full season to be able to play with. Damn it, some of these numbers are really good. But I think there's some value in a couple of spots. This is one of them. I think you play the under. This is going to be close. You're going to be waiting in the fourth quarter. You're like, just like if they show a shot of him on the sideline, you're going to be like, yes. But I like this on the under. I think he's, like I said, I think mid to upper 50s is where he's going to finish. We just got to keep him underneath 60 so that I'm not sweating on Sunday afternoon.
Apply the vice, San Francisco.
Number 4.
All right, marching on here on the Fade 5, numero 4 today. Let's do SGP, and come with me on this one, Lundy. Give me Joe Cool, Mr. Joe Burrow, 255 plus pass yards, and Burrow 2+ passing touchdowns. Correlate, synergize, bring it all together to get that at plus money right now at BetMGM plus 120. As a matter of fact, I think Burrow could have himself a nice and tasty kind of performance here this championship weekend. Of course, the weapons around Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Hayden Hurst popped up on the injury report, but I think we'll probably be able to go. He's got the check down weapons there. It's Samaje Perine and also Joe Mixon. So an embarrassment of riches to toss the pill to. He's a guy that's quarterback 8 and adjusted completion percentage over the entirety of the season, and quarterback 9 and red zone completion percentage. So largely accurate when sniffing the chalk or getting damn near close to it. Now, Kansas City, a lot of people say, oh man, their secondary is weak. And I think that may be overblown a little bit. And you look at the numerics, they've given up just 6.84 pass yards per attempt and 241.9 pass yards per game on the year, but 7 signal callers have reached both of these thresholds. So 255 plus and the 2 passing touchdowns in the same game. So in a game that I believe will live up to the hype and have a whole lot of fireworks in the box score, I steadfastly am buying Burrow 255 plus pass yards, Burrow 2+ passing touchdowns, and get seduced by that juice. Work those shoulders. Plus 120 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow?
Oh, man. I'm not buying the yards. That's my problem. I'm not 100% buying the yards. That's the downside that we've got, because I think you're going to see, for example, I think Mixon's going over. I like Mixon on Sunday. I like Mixon. I like Pacheco. I like a lot of things. I like whipped cream on my ice cream. I like, okay. I'll make this bet, but it's not going to be. It's not sledgehammer worthy. I'll tell you that. It's like the little plastic hammer that we got with the Fisher Price set when we were kids. Yeah. It's that kind of hammer. It's not sledgehammer worthy. I'm going to go with you just in case Burrow can complete a long one for us to be able to help us get up over this number. But that passing, I think he gets the 2 passing TDs. Let me be clear. The second half of it I like. It's the first half of it that has me a little bit nervous.
All right, more of a Fisher Price hammer? Come on, Lundy.
Number 3.
All right, more Trace here on the Fade 5 today. Let's stay in the SGP market, and maybe Lundy's going to break out the of the bigger sledgehammer, the Peter Gabriel variety. It's all George Kittle all the time. And let's correlate, synergize, and bring it all together with him. Give me Kittle, 4+ catches. Kittle, 40+ receiving yards. Both those events occurred looking at even money, plus 100 at BetMGM. You look at Philadelphia in the regular season, they gave up 81 receptions for 800 yards exactly to the tight end position. 6 guys at the tight end position went over both of these numbers in the same game. So it's not unheard of. It's not impossible for him to reach by any stretch of the imagination. I think the key here for Brock Purdy is this. Don't pick on whoever is lining up outside with James Bradbury and a big play Darius Slay. You got to work between the numbers, between the hash marks, and feed George Kittle early and often to try to take advantage of what I feel, if there is a soft spot in that secondary for Philadelphia, it's an over-the-middle coverage, and that's a specialty of Kittle, who had one of the most juggle-worthy catches of the season last week. That was very Cirque du Soleil worthy, so maybe a future for him as a ring tosser inside the ring, inside the tent. But you look at Kittle, a guy that has done this a few times this season. In fact, he's done it in 3 of his last 6 games, and of course, all those with none other than Brock Purdy at the controls. So Kittle, 4+ receptions. Kittle, 40+ receiving yards. Plus 100 at BetMGM on this SGP/OGP. Lundy, come with me. Fade or follow?
Kittles and bits. All right, I'm all about this one. You got me on this one. I'm not nervous about give me the 4 catches. Give me the 40 yards. I'm plus 100. Come on, folks. This is I like this. I like you. You brought me back. You brought me the tractor. It was Death Star tractor beam style. You pulled me back in on the SGP. Took me a minute, though. Still wasn't feeling it there. Still a little nervous on Joe Cool. But on this one, Yeah. Now, I would really like to understand what's going on with George Kittle's hair, though. I don't understand it.
He's
It's
got it.
weird.
I'm jealous. I'm envious.
Of
I don't
course.
care how he styles it.
Yeah. Well, when you've got this nice coif that I do, you're picky. You want to see somebody with a little bit. Kittle's is just like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, did somebody sneak up in the middle of the night when he was drunk and like shave part of his head? I don't understand what's happening right there. But once he puts the helmet on, dude's awesome. So I'm with you. Take it. 4 catches, 40 yards, cash it at even money.
Oh, I'm very jealous of the hair, but I got the beanie. I'm just like the Edge from U2.
Number 2.
All right, number 2 on the Fade 5 countdown. Are we going to go with or without Samaje Perine this week? And I say, hell yeah, go with him on the over 15.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. And truth be told, I grabbed this when it opened immediately at 14.5, and I was waiting on pins and needles for this wager to populate. Why? Because Kansas City notoriously refuses to defend the short field against pass-catching running backs, and that's what Perine is. He's a guy that's played at least 44% of the snaps in back-to-back games. Remember, he faced Kansas City back in Week 13, had 6 receptions in that game. Now, Mixon, I don't know if I can't remember if he didn't play or he was a non-factor because Perine played a boatload of snaps. It doesn't matter. Perine's catching at least a couple of balls in this contest. I think it's going to go for at least 16 yards. He's averaging 13.4 routes run per game. He had the 5 for 31 through the air last week. He has hit the over, including last week, 7 times this season. And getting back to Kansas City, no team in the NFL regular season allowed more receptions to the running back than the Chiefs. They gave up a $107, 107 catches to RBs, 21 blackjack. That's right, 21 running backs hit the over on 15.5 receiving yards, including Travis Etienne last week, if you were lucky enough to get him at 17.5, which I did when the line opened, you cash a ticket. If you got an 18.5, you didn't. You got Captain Hook because he finished with 18. So Lundy, knowing all the particulars there, Samaje Perine, I am over 15.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. Fade or follow?
Gang, this one's gonna move. Go get it while you. That's what she said. Get it while you can at this number, because I will give you an example. PointsBet right now has it at 15.5. Bet Rivers is at 17.5. Caesars is at 16. FanDuel is at 16. I think everybody is going to bump this up. So go grab it while you can. If you can still find it at 15.5, I would go. I'm okay playing it to 16.5. 17.5 starts to make me a little bit nervous. I'll be honest with you. We're starting to climb that number a little bit, but try to go get this done while you can. If it climbs higher than your comfort level, then go grab it and make it a part of an SGP instead. Do a same game parlay with it. Take the 10 plus or something like that, even the 15 plus if you want to. If it gets into the territory where the standard line you're not comfortable with, make it an OGP, SGP, and go that route, because this line has been moving up. Like Brad said, he snagged it at 14.5. I got it at this 15.5, did that yesterday morning, but the books are moving this thing up, and even at 16.5, some of the books are juicing it up. So make sure you jump on this one quick, because it's going to change between now and kickoff on Sunday.
Relieve yourself and pee freely with the Cincinnati running back.
Number 1.
All right, numero uno, let's stick with a running back in the same game, but a different name on the other side of the ball. Isaiah Pacheco, the pride of Rutgers, and that former Scarlet Knight is going to skewer the opposition. Give me the over. 47.5 rush yards, minus 115 at DraftKings Sportsbook, also at BetMGM is where I pulled this number. And this is another line, and I think it's going to move probably in a low to mid 50s by kickoff. It's just too damn low. He is a fall forward by definition running back. You look at the yards of contact per attempt numbers, 3.00 on the entirety of the season. He has hit this number in 9 of his last 10 games. Gets around 35 to 45% of the snap share. Swing a lot of that work, of course, with Jerick McKinnon. But go back to week 13 against the Bengals. 14 carries, 66 yards, and a rushing touchdown. I know Cincinnati has really contained and bottled up the run here of late. In their last 6 games, giving up just 3.44 yards per carry and 67.2 rush yards per game. But I got a feeling, man, I know I've got a futures ticket open on Cincinnati making the Super Bowl to play San Francisco and having that exact matchup at significant plus money, but I may sprinkle a little bit of action, as I said before, on Casey on this money line. This line's been moving all over the place because of how's Mahomes' ankle looking? Oh, wow, he's walking to the podium uninhibited. He's good. He's doing spin moves in the open field in practice without anybody remotely trying to tackle him. He's A-okay. So we're probably going to see even more of a shift in line action. And I think that's going to apply to Pacheco because this number should honestly be in the mid-50s. 47.5 too low. So Lundy, fade or follow Isaiah Pacheco. Does he pound on the ground his way to 48 rush yards, minus 115 at BetMGM?
9 of his last 10 games, folks.
Yep.
I'm sorry. That's where it ends. 9 of the last 10 games, he's gone over this number. It is not high enough. I agree. I think people are it's going to move. I think people are going to force it. I think the betting public between now and kickoff is going to force this one to happen. So take it now while you can. I bet you it finishes at 49 or 50.5 by kickoff. I really do. I think it's going to hit. I think it could hit the 50 mark by kickoff.
Make some pennies with Pacheco, and let's add some more copper to the bankroll here, Lundy. If you're a low-stakes gambler, that's what you do. It's bonus time! What else you got on this Friday? Maybe some other action in Championship Sunday. And I've got a couple of early games at college basketball on Saturday that I will divulge, but there's no lines yet. So choose your own adventure. What else you got tonight?
Copper. You said we're trying to get copper?
Copper. Is it copper? I don't know. It's like
it's weird, dude. It's weird. You're weird.
Coated?
You're weird. All right. Let me do this. Before we leave the action on Sunday, let me give you a couple more that I like. First of all, A.J. Brown came out this week and said, "I'm not a diva, but give me the ball." A.J., that's actually the definition of diva.
You're getting the ball.
Just want to clarify that for you. So you're getting the ball, but here's actually the one that I like. He's done this in 7 out of his last games. Give me the over on his longest reception at 25.5.
Ooh,
the other thing you want to know about this one, it's at 25.5 as we sit here at tape time, but at FanDuel, it's at 27.5. So shop around, folks, but he's been over this number in 7 out of his last 9 games, and I'm a believer that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and that's what he's been doing this week. At the same time, another one to shop around, Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. Over at BetMGM, it's plus 115, but at FanDuel, it's at plus 125. Only two QBs have done this to San Francisco this season, but guys, one of them was Matthew Stafford, for crying out loud, okay? Jalen Hurts has 14 rushing touchdowns this season, 13 in the regular, one of them last week, and I will take those odds at plus 125 at FanDuel. You were talking about Samaje Perine. This is a little bit of the roll of the dice with me, but I've just kind of got a gut feeling, so this is a bit of a TYG. I'll take the over on Joe Mixon's rush yards at 58.5. Again, it's a little bit of a TYG because, damn it, I think that line is really well set. But I'm going to roll the dice that he actually gets up over that number. Let me give you a same gamer in the Kansas City one. It's really hard to get to 5 receptions when you aren't being targeted. Welcome to Juju Smith-Schuster's life right now. The most targets he's had in the last 4 games is 4. So here's an SGP for you that I put together at FanDuel. Give me the under on 4.5 receptions. And if I'm going to do that, give me the under on 47.5 yards. If you put those two together, plus 103 over at FanDuel. Got to give you some action on the ice tonight. Give me a 2-leg parlay that comes out. This is just money line. 2-leg money line on the ice tonight at even money plus 100. Take the Maple Leafs at home against Ottawa. Give me Carolina at home against San Jose. That's plus 100. Then if you're feeling frisky, if you just kind of, it's a Friday night and you're like, yeah, F it. Add Vancouver on the money line in on that one. They are at home against Columbus. Columbus is the worst team in the NHL. Now, a week ago, Vancouver fired their head coach. Rick Tocchet is now behind the bench for them. So Vancouver's all over the place too. But I think the advanced metrics say that Vancouver is due for a positive regression in everything. Since firing the coach, they're 1-1. If we add them on the money line to that two-legger I gave you, it jumps from plus 100 to plus 212. I told you that I like Carolina and Toronto. Let me give you a two-legger player prop in that one. Give me Sebastian Aho to have a point. Give me William Nylander to have a point. You put those two together over at DK, you get yourself a plus 107. Sebastian Aho has points in 7 out of his last 8 games, including a hat trick earlier this week. William Nylander has points in 5 straight. So again, put Aho and Nylander together, you're sitting at a plus 107. And I don't want to steal your thunder. I know you're going to talk about the SEC Big 12 challenge that is taking place this weekend, but I want to throw my 2 cents in. I love the Baylor Bears -6.
Oh, fantastic. I haven't even seen lines yet for that game. So
I saw an early line, and then it sort of disappeared, that basically had a projection at -6. If that is where the line comes in, if it is 6, 5.5, give it to me. I think the Baylor Bears, who have 5 straight conference wins, including that big one over KU, going up against Arkansas, who's lost 5 out of their last 6, I think.
Yep.
I just think this is one of those where you got you got 2 teams passing in opposite directions, and I think Baylor takes care of business by at least 8 points. So I'm good at 5.5. I'm good at 6.5. I probably would stop at 7.5 just in case, or I would alt line it with something else in this. But I like what Baylor's doing right now. I think they're on a hot streak, and I think they're going to carry that momentum into the game against the Razorbacks. I yield the floor to the stocking-capped gentleman from Central Illinois.
Well, let's stick with the SEC Big 12 challenge theme. You got Kentucky and Kansas, and really the marquee matchup, I feel, of the weekend. And Kentucky's at home there at Rupp Arena, and I kind of like the Wildcats. They could be catching a point in this game. They could be favored by a point. You look at Ken Pom, they got it projected Wildcats by un punto over KU, and KU was never lost 4 straight games in the Bill Self era, but maybe that trend is broken. Streaks are made to be broken. In Kentucky, number 10 in the Bart Torvik Advanced Analytics in their last 4 games. KU over that same stretch, number 95 in the country. And I think Oscar Tshiebwe is just too much man inside for a thin front court of Kansas. And if Grady Dick and Harris, if they're not hitting their outside shots, I think Kentucky, if Frederick is hitting his, is going to take care of business at home in front of a rowdy and raucous crowd. So I like that one. And whatever the Xavier Creighton total is, I am over. Again, there is no line out on it. I'm guessing it's going to be in the upper 150s, somewhere around there. I would play it up to like 160.5, maybe 161. But you know what? Xavier can absolutely fly up and down the floor. Number 14 adjusted tempo. Creighton number 114 in adjusted tempo in their own right. They like to move up and down the floor. In Big East play, you look at Xavier shooting nearly 40% from distance, Creighton 36.2%. Creighton is an outstanding defensive team, and I really think they're the dark horse in this league, and they are at home, but they're going to play that brisk pace from beginning to end. And Xavier also very sketchy defensively, number 198 in college basketball and effective field goal percentage defense. So this game, I feel, is going to be in the mid-80s. Going back to Friday night in college basketball, I like Manhattan +6 at Niagara, a team that they beat on Niagara's home floor earlier on this season, 64-59. That was earlier this month. They had 30 free throw attempts in that game and knocked down 23 of them. Manhattan is, I know they're 300 plus in Torvik and in Ken Pom, and they're not exactly an advanced analytics darling. They're the antithesis of that, but a team has been very competitive overall. They are number 1 in conference playing effective field goal percentage offense and number 1 in turnover percentage defense. And Niagara really struggling defensively right now. Bottom 8 in the league in 6 different defensive categories. So I think Manhattan gets the cover there, +6 at Niagara. And another total I like the over in the Air Force New Mexico game at 141. New Mexico, number 23 in the country in adjusted tempo. I know Air Force is number 345 in that category. So really a contrast in styles here, but New Mexico will dictate pace of play in this one, and a team that can really fill up the cup. And also is kind of loosey-goosey defensively. They are dead last, New Mexico is, in 2-point percentage defense. Air Force can gun from three. They're shooting 37% of their shots from distance in Mountain West play, and they're netting close to 52% inside the arc. So points shall be plentiful in the pit tonight. That's why I like the over there at 141. And then a couple of NFL plays on Sunday. Kadarius Toney, give me an anytime touchdown on him, plus 280 at BetMGM. We've seen his snap rates steadily rise here last few weeks. He's got 4 red zone targets in his last 4 games. And a guy that's kind of a jack of all trades had 7 targets last week. I think he finds the end zone, just a gut feeling there against the Bengals. And then the OGP market, how I'm playing both these games, Kansas City plus 3.5 paired with the over 40.5. And you get that plus 120. And then in the San Francisco Eagles game, San Francisco plus 7.5 and the under 52.5. And that's even money at BetMGM at plus 100. Then finally, how can I forget about the NBA? I got one play in that league. Give me Scotty Barnes to hit one damn 3. I just need one, baby. That's it. Tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Scotty Barnes hit a 3 in a game and 4 of his last 6. He's averaging 2.9 3-point attempts per game of the season. Yeah, ignore the miserable 3-point shooting percentage of 29.3 on the season. But Golden State, their last 10, have allowed the 9th most made threes in the NBA, and they're giving up over 40% from along the arc during that stretch. So Scotty Barnes, splash one, and I make some money. All right, we are out of time here on the Fade 5 podcast presented by Suavecito Tequila. Do me a favor, go pick up a bottle of Suavecito tonight. It's a Friday. You don't have any damn excuses. Drink the love juice and have a good old time. And drop us a rating and a review if you enjoy this podcast, would you kindly? And fade or follow us on the Twitter. Follow all of our picks and spreadsheets. Lundy at Nate Lundy and myself at Noisy Huevos. For the good sir, Nathaniel Lundy, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.